Welcome to this presentation on Createch and skills. My name's Martin Charter. I'm from the Centre for Sustainable Design at University for the Creative Arts, and I'm going to give you just a quick overview of some issues that I'm seeing. So this presentation builds on work that myself and my colleague Trevor Davis have been working on for several years, looking out to 2030 in creative industries, and particularly honing in now on Createch and now Createch in Surrey. So one thing that's almost becoming a megatrend, well, is a megatrend globally, is technological acceleration, and one of three megatrends, globalization, that may be becoming a globalization, environmental degradation, or your increased recognition of it, and technological acceleration. And clearly, if we then look at the creative industries, we can quite, clearly see that technology is permeating its way into many of the creative industries within the UK and globally. Createch itself is a relatively new term, are now starting to be used also with creative technologies as a sort of broader term, there are general definitions and there are more specific definitions. So these are two definitions that are recently been used in the public domain by a couple of opinion formers. So creator is a beneficial symbiosis which occurs when creative designers collaborate with data technologies such as engineers, programmers, and data scientists. And this is from Sir Peter Bazalgette, who's the co-chairman of the Creative Industries Council. And also recently, Professor Christopher Smith, the executive chair of the Arts and Humanities Research Council, stated, Createch is, in effect, the special combination of creativity and technology in creative industry sectors. So those are both quite broad definitions. If you then look at it, Createch from a more technology-centered viewpoints, you have in the circle here a whole series of different, technologies and applications, and sitting at the center of this, you have what we term core Createch. And these are, generally speaking, B2B technologies or technologies provided by B2B companies that relate to AI-powered platforms, Web 3.0 and blockchains, 3D capture, immersive technologies, and workflow automation and advanced analytics. We ourselves, that's myself and Trevor Davis, have really been working at a tighter definition of Createch in that B2B space. And we're really talking about the companies in that space being growth-oriented businesses in the creative or cultural sector that have technology assets that are central to their value proposition to their investors, customers, and users, that then employ a business or operating model that is effectively delivered by digital technologies, such as those that fit under the so-called Industry 4.0 umbrella. And we and others are now identifying Createch as a sort of new emerging sector that sits within the DCMS or whatever it is now called sectors, but it's quite difficult to define in conventional statistical classifications, Createch. So it doesn't neatly fit within SIC and other classifications, and that's why we went off and did some more detailed analysis bottom up of the Createch sector in the UK, and that's detailed in reports that we've been produced. So we reckon from our analysis and projections that creative industries is going to continue to grow, and that Createch is going to increase its proportion of the Createch of the creative industries. So going to become more important as we see technology permeate into the sectors more and more. And actually, we're also projecting growth in the Createch companies alongside growth in games and film and TV in Surrey. So growing needs. And as I mentioned, we did some detailed survey amongst Createch companies that we had identified in the UK, and we could see that the Createch technologies in use by or delivered by those Createch companies as per our definition, particularly clustered around AI, VR, 3D capture, augmented reality, advanced analytics. And if we get into the sort of skills domain here, within those Createch companies, and that's what we're thinking about here, within the needs of those Createch companies, there's both creative skills that are needed, also business skills, and also technical skills. So it's different skill sets, and the ability to work between those domains is going to be increasingly important. So that might be on the creative side, from content creation and creative problem solving to much more specific business skills in actually running the companies, both in terms of management, coordination, but also specifically project management, because delivery of these Createch solutions is quite complicated. So you've then got the other broader business skills, finance, marketing, etc. But also, I think, there'll need to be, other sort of hybrid skills around building collaborations and partnerships, product development, etc. And also increasingly cybersecurity. In a technical side, skills around cloud computing, full stack development, AI and machine learning, and various programming languages. So in terms of the sort of broader sets of issues that we see, particularly after Brexit, with some of the challenges in recruitment of skills from overseas that are being continued to be identified, there's going to be skills gaps, and the key issue is how we're going to be able to fill those gaps, effectively. And that's skills gaps both in terms of individual skills, but also organizational skills gaps. And a key issue here is going to be how our skills development initiatives, such as LSIP and others, others including the role of stakeholders, such as the universities. So UCA, for example, has a School of Creative Technologies and Gaming, how do the universities plug into this agendas, as well as how do the further education organizations plug into this, and then what is the potential relationship between the two. Secondly, rapid technological developments. So, technology is, continuing to accelerate. And so there's going to need to be a continuous learning and skills development approach that is available to staff in the area. And skills providers will need to adjust to that, particularly the access to updates, bite-size, updates. And this has been, really emphasized by the massive acceleration and launch of OpenAI technologies that are going to be a significant impact on anything related to technology, both from a technological point of view, but on a productivity perspective. Soft skills are important. So communications, problem solving, adaptability within a fast changing environment, not just the technical skills. So those soft skills are going to be important in actually building the businesses that are flexible and adaptive and will grow, providing the Createch solutions. Cross-functional collaboration is also a key skill set when you're working between different teams, between the creative, technical, and business sides. And learning the languages of the different, elements is going to be important. Creatives will not necessarily understand business or technical language, and vice versa. So there's going to need to be almost a common language developed around this intersection between creative, technology, and business. Talent acquisition and retention. So there are going to be issues around hiring and retaining the right types of people in the Createch businesses, and how will one provide the incentives for people to move into the sector, maybe to retrain and move across, and how are organizations going to be able to provide that ongoing skills upgrading. So also we've got upskilling and reskilling. So within existing staff within organizations, how are we going to go about the reskilling of those people, but also importantly with the whole emergence of the open AI productivity tool set, how are we going to upskill people? Inclusivity and diversity. So there is a growing need to bring in people from different groups into this domain. And so how are we going to account for increased inclusivity and diversity, and how are we going to attract people from different communities to engage with this agenda and see there are jobs in the future, and how are we going to provide the appropriate courses in the appropriate settings to deliver information and knowledge to help build the skills. And I think one thing we should also mention here is from our broader work we've done on the creative industries. There are obviously many small and micro enterprises in the creative industries, but also particularly in the Createch sector. And in the Createch sector, there are a lot of startups and new companies that are moving very fast. So particularly, in the working environment, a lot of people will not have the time to go to, long, many-day courses. So how are bite-sized courses online going to fulfill the needs of these fast-moving companies? On a macro level, we'll need to think about, measurement, the contribution. If we're thinking about, firstly, Createch companies, issues like measuring the number of Createch companies, for example, in Surrey, the growth of those companies, the skills issues associated with those Createch companies, and also the contribution to GVA and other development indices. How are we going to measure that, and how are we going to monitor that, and how are we going to set up the appropriate systems to do that? I think last but no means least, a key issue with the growing, climate change emergency and the commitments of UK government to net zero and broader sustainability initiatives is how are we going to integrate net zero and sustainability into Createch development into the future, and how are we going to understand, for example, energy use within Createch developments, CO2 emissions, how are we going to consider, how we optimize and improve, the development of more efficient technologies and processes. This separately is an area that we are working on, and I will leave my contact at the end. So on a broader, strategic level, we being UCA are working with Surrey County Council to consider a path forward for the Createch sector, and are presently looking at a development path for a Createch cluster over the next 5 years in the county. And clearly skills and skills development will be a key part of that agenda. So if you'd like to, follow up with more questions, hopefully short, specific questions, or organize a conversation, please come back to me on the following email. So thank you very much, and I hope that was useful, and best of luck with the rest of the day.